There are the rules they teach you, and then there are the rules no one says out loud. The ones Machiavelli would whisper to a ruler behind closed doors. These are the rules that decide whether you rise in silence or destroy yourself in public without even realizing it. See, most people think power means talking louder, being more visible, getting attention. But Machiavelli knew something darker and far more dangerous. Real power isn't shown. It's hidden, and it's preserved by what you refuse to reveal, especially when people are watching. Because in public, your enemy isn't just a person. It's perception. It's the crowd. It's reputation, silently adjusting its judgment with every small move you make. You don't gain power by being impressive. You gain power by being unreadable. There are silent mistakes you make that don't look like weakness, but they are. A nervous smile, a rushed explanation, a casual complaint. Each one chips away at your mystique until people stop respecting you and they don't even know why. This video will show you those exact mistakes and how to replace them with strategies that turn your silence into pressure, your presence into a weapon. These are the moves Machiavelli would make if he lived today. And they are designed to make you untouchable in rooms filled with noise, gossip, and emotional traps. So stay till the end, because the moment you stop leaking weakness in public, you'll stop fighting for power and start making people adjust themselves around you. Let's begin. 1. Never complain in public. It destroys your image instantly. Most people think complaining makes them look honest, relatable, human. But Machiavelli would call it exactly what it is, a public signal of weakness. Because when you complain in front of others about your boss, your problems, your stress, you're not just venting, you're broadcasting two things. You don't have control. You expect sympathy. Both are poison to power. Nobody follows someone who looks like they're barely holding it together. Nobody fears someone who constantly leaks frustration. And nobody respects a person who turns every obstacle into a story. Power isn't built through pain. It's built through how silently you carry it. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. When you complain in public, you reshape your identity. You're no longer a mystery. You become someone who needs. And the moment you're seen that way, the world treats you differently. They stop seeing strength. They start offering pity. Or worse, they stop paying attention at all. So what's the move? Endure quietly. When things get hard, stay still. Don't post about it. Don't talk about it. Don't hint at it. Let your pain fuel your silence. Let them wonder how you never flinch. Let them question what you're really feeling because they can't tell. That's where your power lives. People fear what they can't read. And if you stop leaking emotion, you become something rare in today's world. Unbreakable. So remember this. You're allowed to feel pain. Just don't let the world watch you bleed. Machiavelli would never complain. He'd store the pain, turn it cold, and use it later as fuel for revenge or strategy. Now you do the same. 2. Never reveal insecurity in public. They'll use it against you. You might think admitting your insecurities makes you look honest, real, humble, but in public, it does something else. It teaches people how to lower their expectations of you. Say, I'm not good at this enough times, and soon no one will trust you to be. Say, I struggle with confidence, and they'll stop taking you seriously, even when you're right. Machiavelli understood a brutal truth. Perception becomes reality. Even if you're capable, even if you're sharp, once people hear weakness come from your own mouth, they start to believe it. You're shaping their image of you, not through what you do, but through what you say about yourself. And most of the time, people aren't even doing it for strategy. They're doing it to feel safe. They say things like, "I'm not that smart. I hope I don't mess this up. I always get nervous in crowds." They say it hoping to seem relatable, but all it does is create an image of someone unsure, soft, easy to dismiss. And in public, once that image is created, it's hard to erase. So what's the move? Keep your insecurity private. If you need to talk it through, do it behind closed doors, with someone you trust. Maybe, but never in front of a crowd. Never in front of people who haven't earned the right to see your doubt. Outwardly, you hold the frame. Even when you're unsure inside, you keep your posture strong, your face still, your voice steady. Why? Because that silence makes them wonder, and people fear what they can't figure out. Machiavelli wouldn't confess weakness. He'd hide it behind strategy and let others assume strength. So the next time you're tempted to admit your flaw, let them keep guessing. That's where your edge lives. 3. Never boast about your plans in public. It kills momentum. You've seen them. The people who talk loud about their next big move, their goals, their projects, their "watch me do this" speeches. They think it makes them look ambitious, driven, inspiring. But Machiavelli would smile quietly, because those people are giving away their power without even knowing it. Here's what really happens when you talk about your plans in public. 1. You lose urgency. People don't feel the need to help or support you. Why would they? You're already announcing your rise. 2. You give others a map to sabotage you. Now they know where you're headed, and that gives them time to interfere or compete before you even start. Machiavelli believed this deeply. If you want your move to land hard, keep it hidden until it's done. So what's the power move? Say nothing. Build quietly. Move silently. Let the results hit the world like a surprise attack. When they finally notice what you've done, it's too late to stop you. And when they ask how you pulled it off, smile, shrug, say something vague like, "I've just been working." Oh, bit came together. Don't give details. Don't fill in blanks. Let the silence speak louder than any announcement could. Because when people don't see the climb, the height stuns them even more. That's Machiavellian strategy. Delay the reveal, let the outcome speak. So next time you feel like posting about your goals, telling people what you're working on, don't. Protect the plan. Let the world feel your success, not watch you build it. And remember, power that is announced is open to attack. Power that stays quiet becomes untouchable. 4. Never take sides in public conflicts. It makes you predictable. Someone's arguing, a friend's being attacked, a co-worker is being dragged into drama, and you feel the urge to jump in, to defend, to take a side. It feels noble, loyal, righteous. But Machiavelli would see it differently. He'd call it a strategic mistake. Because when you pick sides in public, especially over petty arguments, you're not just making a stand. You're making your values visible before you have power to protect them. And that makes you vulnerable. Here's what really happens when you take sides. You gain enemies who didn't need to know you existed. You make emotional alliances, not strategic ones. You show your hand, your beliefs, your loyalties, your weak points, too early. And once people know what you believe, they know how to control you. Machiavelli's advice was clear. Stay neutral in public. Stay sharp in private. Let others argue. Let them expose themselves. Let them burn bridges while you quietly take notes. You're not being passive. You're being precise. Because neutrality doesn't mean you don't care. It means you understand the cost of speaking too soon. Public loyalty is loud but short-lived. Silent observation, though, that gives you long-term positioning. So when a conflict breaks out in front of you, don't jump into the fire. Watch. Read the room. Ask yourself, what do I gain from speaking now? If the answer is nothing, stay quiet. Because the people fighting, they'll reveal everything. Their insecurities, their alliances, their tactics. And you'll walk away with information while they walk away exposed. That's power. Don't fight for others in public. Win for yourself in silence. 5. Never show hunger for attention in public. It makes you replaceable. Desperation has a smell, and in public it spreads fast. It's in the way someone laughs too loud, talks too much, tries too hard to be noticed, liked, or praised. You've seen it, and so has everyone else. Because hunger for attention is one of the fastest ways to lose respect. Machiavelli believed that once people sense you need their approval, they own you. You become easy to manage, easy to ignore, easy to discard, especially if that hunger is psychological. If you walk into a room needing to be liked, admired, or accepted, you've already given your power away. Here's the truth. The more you need the room, the less the room needs you. But the opposite is also true. When you walk in calm, composed, and untouched by the energy around you, you become something different. You're not chasing attention. You're creating presence. And people don't know how to define you, so they fixate on you. Because what they can't define, they can't dismiss. Want real power? Don't be the loudest in the room. Be the one whose silence makes others wonder what you're thinking. Speak only when the moment needs your voice. Smile like you don't need to prove anything. Move like you belong, even if no one acknowledges you. That's how you hold attention, without asking for it. Because in a world full of people trying to be seen, the one who doesn't chase becomes the one they seek. So next time you feel the urge to grab attention, pause. Let your stillness speak. Let the silence build curiosity. And remember, Machiavelli didn't force presence. He made people feel it without saying a word. 6. Never break under pressure, even slightly. Pressure doesn't always come as a big moment. Sometimes it's small. A disagreement, a sharp question, a public challenge. And most people don't explode under pressure. They leak. Their voice tightens. Their face changes. Their posture shifts. And it may seem small, but the room sees it, even if they don't say anything. Because here's what happens instantly. Your myth cracks. People stop seeing strength. They start sensing uncertainty. And once that happens, your authority quietly dissolves. Machiavelli would never let that happen. Even when boiling inside, he would look calm, not robotic, but controlled, still, steady, unreadable. Because once people see that nothing shakes you, you become something else entirely, a figure they adjust themselves around. So how do you master this? You don't need to be emotionless, but you must never let emotion lead. When the pressure rises, breathe slower, not faster. Speak less, not more. Hold your body like nothing changed, even if everything did. This makes people nervous, because they're expecting a reaction, and when they don't get one, they don't know what to do next. That's when the power flips. Now you're not the one under pressure. You've become the pressure. The person who doesn't flinch becomes the one others orbit around. So whether it's a sudden attack, a sarcastic jab, or an uncomfortable question, don't rush to fix it. Don't over-explain. Don't even shift your tone. Just pause. Look them in the eye and move as if the moment never touched you. Because power isn't proven when you speak. It's revealed by what you survive silently. 7. Never over-explain yourself in public. It hands them the frame. You say something bold. Someone reacts. Now you feel the need to explain, clarify, soften the impact. And in doing that, you just lost control of the room. Over-explaining is the mistake of the unsure. You're not explaining to add clarity. You're explaining because you feel uncomfortable. But here's what Machiavelli knew. The moment you start explaining yourself, you're no longer leading the conversation. You're following their emotion. You've given them control of the frame. Now you're not the one defining what you meant. You're defending your existence. And once that happens, your power disappears. You've moved from authority to approval seeking. Instead of standing firm, you're scrambling to make people feel okay about what you said. That's weakness, even if your words are right. So what's the move? When you say something, own it. Say less, mean more. Let it sit. If someone challenges you or acts confused, don't panic. Don't backpedal. Let the silence do the heavy lifting. And if they demand clarification, say calmly, maybe you misunderstood, or even colder, or maybe you understood me perfectly. Now the room pauses. Because you didn't react, you redirected. You made them question themselves. That's what power sounds like. Not louder, but sharper. Not emotional, but deliberate. And the beauty of this move, you didn't argue. You didn't explain. You just held your frame and made everyone else adjust around it. Remember, Machiavelli didn't defend himself. He let others make assumptions and used their reactions against them. So next time you feel the urge to explain, don't let your words echo. Let the silence sting. Let them wonder. Power isn't in how well you speak. It's in what you refuse to explain. 8. Never show bitterness after rejection. It exposes you instantly. Someone ignores you, leaves you out, chooses someone else. You feel that sting, that urge to show you noticed, to prove they made a mistake, to make them feel what you felt. But Machiavelli would call that reaction what it is: emotional self-destruction. Because when you show public bitterness after rejection, you're telling the world, I cared more than I should have, and now it controls me. That's the moment your presence weakens. People don't see pain. They see need. They see someone affected, shaken, exposed. So what's the move? Detach. Not with fake smiles, but with clean silence. You don't lash out. You don't go cold with passive aggression. You simply withdraw. Quietly, calmly, complete. You make it seem like they did you a favor, like they freed up your time. You show no damage, no irritation, not because it didn't sting, but because you don't give them the satisfaction of seeing it. When you act like nothing changed, they start to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why does she seem unaffected? Did we misread their value? And that's where the reversal begins. People expect you to chase when you're rejected. But when you don't, when you vanish without noise, you make them feel the absence they tried to create for you. Machiavelli would never beg for inclusion. He'd act like he always had other options, because that illusion keeps your image clean. So next time they reject you, don't respond, don't explain, don't retaliate. Just disappear. Let your silence disturb them. Let your absence speak louder than any reaction ever could. Because the one who leaves with composure leaves with control. 9. Never criticize someone more powerful in public. It's a trap, not a win. You see someone in power making mistakes. They're arrogant, sloppy, maybe even corrupt. And you feel the urge to speak up, to expose them, to call them out. But Machiavelli would warn you, that move may feel bold, but it's rarely smart. Here's why. When you publicly attack someone above you, two things happen, and neither help you. You look jealous, even if you're right. You become a threat that must be silenced. You think you're delivering justice, but what you're really doing is painting a target on your back. Powerful people don't argue with critics. They erase them, quietly, efficiently, permanently. Machiavelli never fired first in public. He watched, he waited, he let their mistakes stack until the timing was perfect, then struck with precision when they least expected it. Because real power doesn't attack loudly. It dismantles slowly, strategically, often through someone else. So what's the smarter move? Hold your tongue, little distance, gather information. If the person above you is corrupt or careless, don't expose them in front of the crowd. Expose them with results. Undermine them with silence. Let their actions speak, not your opinions. And when it's time, strike in private. Or let someone else deliver the blow while you stay untouchable. If you must say something in public, make it precise, calm, almost like a compliment. An example, her timing is always impressive. Now let that double meaning linger, because Machiavellian power doesn't just survive public spaces, it manipulates them. So remember, telling the truth isn't power. Timing the truth, that's power. Don't fire to look brave. Wait until it benefits you to be right. 10. Never reveal pain in public. Project control instead. Everyone feels pain, frustration, pressure, disappointment. But the difference between the powerful and the forgettable is simple. The powerful never show it publicly. Machiavelli understood this with deadly clarity. Pain is not weakness, but revealing it, that's a mistake. Because when people see your pain, they don't admire your honesty. They recalculate your strength. Every sigh, every complaint, every emotional reaction tells the room one thing. You're struggling. You're leaking control. You're human and therefore beatable. Now you're no longer a figure of presence. You're someone trying to manage themselves. So what's the Machiavellian move? Feel everything, show nothing. You don't fake joy. You don't pretend to be emotionless. You master stillness, not as a performance, but as discipline. Because when something hits you and you remain unshaken, that's what disturbs people. They wonder, isn't he reacting? What's she planning? How bad is it really, if they're still this calm? You don't need to smile. You don't need to fake confidence. You just need to stay grounded. Because silence during adversity isn't emptiness, it's intimidation. People fear what they can't read. And pain they can't measure becomes power they can't challenge. So the next time something hurts, in a meeting, in a conversation, in a confrontation, don't leak it. Let your face stay still. Let your energy stay low. Let them think you're unaffected, even when your chest is burning, because that's where power lives, in what you feel and refuse to reveal. Machiavelli wouldn't cry for the crowd. He'd turn the pain into leverage and use it when it mattered most. Now you do the same. Final reflection. Silence builds power. Mystery builds fear. Power isn't about being loud. It's not about forcing attention or constantly proving yourself. It's about what you refuse to show, what you hide, what you let them wonder. Machiavelli never begged to be understood. He preferred to be misunderstood, because confusion creates caution. He didn't lead by talking more. He led by becoming a presence people couldn't quite figure out, but couldn't stop watching. That's your path now. You've learned what to remove from your public behavior. The complaining, the overexplaining, the emotional leaks, the need to be liked, the loud ambition, the visible pain, all of it, gone. And when those weak signals disappear, a vacuum appears. And that vacuum, it doesn't stay empty. People begin to project onto you strength, discipline, control, danger, intelligence, even if you never said a word. Because in a world where everyone overshares and overperforms, the one who doesn't owns the room. You walk into a space and don't seek attention, and people wonder why. You're calm under pressure, and people adjust around you. You say less, and they lean in more. You disappear early, and they talk about you after you're gone. That's how power works in silence. You don't need to fight for a spotlight. You let your presence become the story. Machiavelli didn't just survive power games. He designed them. He didn't want applause. He wanted control. And when you start removing the subtle behaviors that signal weakness, you don't just avoid losing power, you start building a legend. So let others shout. Let them explain. Let them seek validation. You master silence. You move with precision, and you let them feel your presence long after you've left the room. Because when you're no longer easy to read, you become impossible to ignore. That is Machiavellian power.